this is what we do, all preseason to get ready for our opening game. Excited to have the Riley Center with fans again, but just really excited to start it. We know Siena is going to be a great opponent. It's the Franciscan Cup, and they're well coached, and we got our hands full. It's in the first game, it's a lot of nerves. Just not sure if you put if you're prepared. You're not sure what the other team's going to run. So there's a lot of concerns, but we're really excited about getting the opportunity to start the season.
Coach, with all the new pieces that Siena has this year, with not a lot of tape on them, how much more difficult is that to prepare and scout for the team in a season opener?
It's always difficult. Every season opener is the same way. You don't know what they're going to run. You don't have tape. So you really try to take care of yourself and prepare the best you can, and prepare our guys to play well. There'll be some adjustments as the game goes along. Them running, certain things that we haven't gone over. So that's why there's a lot of nerves in the first game from a coaching perspective, because it's the unknown. You don't know what they're going to run, both offensively and defensively. You could be surprised. So, we're going to try to, like game one it's really you try to work on what you need to work on. It's more our team rather than the opponent.
And also, obviously, with the banner ceremony, there's going to be a lot of emotions with your team. How do you make sure to manage those emotions and just focus on the actual game?
There'll be emotions, but those kids deserve to have the banner raised and giving out their rings for the season that they had last year. The hope, we have 5 veteran guys. They're mature guys. They understand that, once that ceremony is over, that they have to, get serious about playing the opener. If they're not, then we're going to have major concerns all the way through the year. But I think I trust the 5 seniors. They understand what's at stake, and I think they'll be ready to play.
Rachel, over to you.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Looking back at the Alfred game, even though it was an exhibition, from what you saw from the depth, from the bench, from the transfers, guys like Linton Brown, Quadri Adams, Kareem Koulibaly, how do you project that kind of helping your team's depth, whether it's off the bench or filling in, or non-starters this season?
Yeah, the exhibition game is more of, getting their feet wet, and, we played most of the young guys just to get them comfortable in the Rally Center playing under the lights. But in terms of depth, we're going to need some of those guys. We're not going to need all of them, but we're going to need, 2 or 3, 4 of those guys to come in and help us. And as I've said all along, they don't need to come in and score 30 points and get 35 rebounds. They just need to come in and play their role. And if they play to their strengths, I think they're good enough players to help us this year. And we're going to need, like I said, we're going to need a couple of those guys to be guys that we can depend on night in and night out. And, hopefully the Alfred game gave them some confidence, and they'll be good players for us as we go forward in this season.
And to follow up on that, a couple of those guys, how do you have particular roles projected for them yet? Or is that kind of where the non-conference schedule comes in to see where they fit in the best?
Yeah, it's, there's roles set for them right now, but roles can always change. There's a couple guys that aren't, looked at as they're going to play a lot tomorrow. But 2 weeks down the road, 3 weeks down the road, they could be playing a lot. I'm a big advocate on how you practice. And the guys that will play tomorrow that will come off the bench, we as coaches thought that they performed the best in practice. But those roles can change, from game in to game out, depending on how guys, practice and, injuries and all that too. But if a guy's doesn't play tomorrow night, that doesn't mean that he's not going to play the rest of the season. Things can change, very, very quickly from game to game.
Brendan, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for having us on today. Appreciate it. You kind of answered this a little bit already, but when you come into this year, it's the team is nationally ranked for the first time in 50 years. You're the defending Atlantic 10 champions. There comes a time where you're the hunted, and now you're the huntee, so to speak. And you kind of talked about managing the expectations, but how do you keep these guys understanding that take out the national ranking, take out the defending champs, new season, every game is new. You can't take teams lightly. Everybody's going to be coming. Everybody's going to be giving you their A game this year. How do you manage those expectations, especially when you've got a bunch of new players who transferred in who haven't been part of the culture already, like your 5 seniors have?
Yeah, well, the hope is those 5 seniors can lead those young guys, and we've dealt with that since the preseason when those polls came out. And as I said, Brendan, it's we embrace that stuff. We're not going to run away from it, and if we don't have a good season, it's not going to be because the expectations and we didn't handle the expectations right, or we got big heads. We're proud of what we've done, but we know that the polls, especially the preseason polls, really don't mean anything. It's more for the school, for the alums, pound your chest a little bit as an alum. But when the game starts, it's Siena doesn't care if we're ranked 23rd or 223rd. It's 0-0, and our guys understand that the games are won on the court. And, they deserve to get the exposure and all the accolades from what they've done last year. But they understand that was last year, and those preseason polls are all based on projections and what happened last year. And this is a whole different year. And I'm lucky to have 5 seniors that understand that. And hopefully the young guys have been, listening to the veterans and listening to the coaching staff. And those young guys, they haven't done anything. So, that 23 ranking isn't because of them, so I don't have any concerns. I think the hunter, we're going to go out and play just like we play all the year, all the time, with a chip on our shoulder. We're going to play hard. And as I tell the team all the time, I just want the crowd, when they leave the game, that they know that they got their money's worth, and they know that Bonaventure plays extremely hard. And that's what we're going to try to do. And, all those expectations and stuff, I'd rather have higher expectations than, people think we stink, so, but it's a long season, and we're going to try to do our very best, like we try to do every year.
I mean, Coach, just to follow up, you mentioned the crowd. I mean, now that you know that the crowds are going to be back in the Rally Center, can you just explain to us how different last year was with no crowds and playing in empty arenas, and especially like this group of guys that we've seen over the last couple of years really fed off the crowd and the energy of the RC, and then you just didn't have that last year. Like how truly difficult was it to coach in an environment where it was essentially silent?
It was terrible. Both as a coach and as a player, it was terrible. But as I said last year, I'm just thankful that we were able to play. But the crowds are everything. The students. College basketball is about the university, about the alums. It's about that Saturday night at the Rally Center, and it wasn't like it last year. And and hopefully, knock on wood, we're able to have fans throughout the season. But it was bad. It wasn't any fun, even though we had a great year. But I'm just the exhibition game, would have, I don't know how many people we had, a couple thousand. It just gave you that thrill, that excitement, that those goosebumps. And I can just imagine what it's going to be like tomorrow night. But it's having the crowds. The Rally Center is nothing like it. It's a great home court advantage. And we didn't have a home court advantage. Everything was a neutral site, and everything was just like almost like a scrimmage. But again, thank goodness we were able to play. But this year, play with a crowd there's nothing like it.
Well, as someone that hasn't been to the RC since March of 2020, I'm excited to be there tomorrow night. So we appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll take 3 more, Tyler, Mark, and JP. Mark, you've had your hand up. Mark, go ahead.
Hi, Mark. With Siena having so many new players, and a few of them didn't even play in the exhibition game, to what extent might you look at some of their players' film from previous schools, whether it's Anthony Gaines Northwestern, Jace Johnson at Middle Tennessee? Would that do you any good at all for this game?
Not really, not really. We know them. They're all those transfers are really good players. So no, it's almost like I think this, the opening game is more of like, making sure you're ready, making sure the team is ready, no matter who we're playing. Because, for the most part, Siena will probably run what they ran last year or 2 years ago. Usually coaches don't change. But in terms of the players, we know, Gaines is a heck of a player. And, we recruited him out of high school. We know his game. Can we stop his game? That's the question. But those guys, they're really good players. And just like Siena's in the same boat as we are in terms of, what we're going to run, how we can change stuff. And it's more of just, making sure that you guys are ready, like making sure that our team, the Bonnies are ready to play. And then there'll be adjustments and stuff. Absolutely. But we know what those guys can do. But the question, as I said earlier, can we stop them?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Time for two more. Tyler, go ahead.
Coach, thanks for taking the time this afternoon. You got the opening win last year, and obviously, like people have said before, there was no fans in the arena. The past three home openers before that, you guys did fall short. Bucknell, Ohio, and dating back to Niagara. How important is it for your guys to start the season strong, especially in front of a packed RC like it hasn't been in 2 years?
I know if we lose, it's not like the rally center, the people are going to quit on us. I can tell you that. But you always want to win. We have 31 games or 32, whatever we're playing this year. And, these kids work 365 days for 31 opportunities to put that uniform on, so they want to win every game, and it's important. But I know, maybe this is wrong to say, but I doubt that we're going to go, 36-0 or whatever it is if we go and win the national championship. So there's going to be some losses along the way. But we're preparing just like we prepare for every game to win, and we're going to do everything we can to win the game by one. But if it doesn't happen, we'll go back to the drawing board and continue to work. The Raleigh Center is going to be, an incredible place to play college basketball tomorrow night, but it's going to be like that the whole season. And that's what's so special about being the coach at Bonaventure and playing at Bonaventure. It's, this is everything to this community. And people haven't been in the Raleigh Center since March 4th of, I think, whatever it is, 2019 or whatever it is. So they'll be ready to go, and they'll be with us, win or lose the rest of the year.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
And JP, we'll finish with you.
Yeah, Coach, the last time you guys played Siena, the current core, was still so young. That was back in November 19 on the road. Oshun didn't play in that game, and they got you by 13. And obviously so much has changed, since then for both teams. And you talk about, not needing any extra motivation, but just having that, be the last time that you guys played them. And just with the rivalry component and the cup on the line, does that make it a little bit more of a circle the calendar type of game tomorrow, do you think?
No, not because they beat us 2 years ago. I think it's an important game because it's the season opener. I always say it's an important game because it's the next game. It's the game we're playing. I understand it's, two great Franciscan universities, two great programs. But what happened 2 years ago, I say it all the time, after the game, 15 minutes after the game, the kids forget who won or lost. They go, where's my pizza, and let me go home. So I'm not sure what, 2 years is going to be. But we know it's a rivalry, and it's great. And there's only a rivalry because, both teams have won and both teams have lost. There's no rivalry if one team is dominating the other. And that's what's great about this. And right. The Franciscan Cup and, all that stuff is important to the Franciscans. But it's our season opener. If our kids aren't ready to play in the season opener when, we haven't had a crowd in the Riley Center since March 4th, and there's something wrong, so we have the wrong guys. So we'll be ready to play, and hopefully we play well, and hopefully it's a really good basketball game.